of the eyes, they have a very limited field of vision. And really, they can only see what's off to their sides, and they can see a little bit of space that's up above them. They have a big blind spot right in front of them. They also can't see anything that's below their jawline, and they can't see anything that's directly behind them. So when we're approaching them from the tail, we're utilizing one of these blind spots. We're using it to our advantage. Okay? Now, it's very important that when I climb on, the alligator's head is not turned one way or the other, because you'll see us coming if it is, or we get the same effect if we try to jump or climb on from over here. Okay, he's actually watching me at this point. So if I get too close, he's going to try and spin around and he'll try and catch me or whatever it is that falls into that area. Okay, so his head lined up the way I need it, we'll just climb right on, just like that. And the first thing you guys might have seen me do, you're going to walk me right into your friend here, aren't you? That's far enough. Let me kind of hold back here. What I was going to say though is you might have noticed how when I jumped on, I went up and I covered up his eyes. Okay, if you notice that I'm doing that from time to time, the reason why is because we've been told that when you cover up an alligator's eyes, they stop moving because they think that they're dead. Obviously, we don't know what the alligator's thinking at this point. I don't know if he thinks he's dead or not. But it does tend to calm them down just a little bit when you cover up their eyes. So if you notice I'm doing that from time to time, that's the reason why. The other thing is we want to get our knees into the alligator's armpits. And I also want to get my feet kind of tucked in back here by the hind legs. Okay, what that does is it prevents the alligator from standing up and then backing out from underneath me. And from here, if all we were doing was checking the animal's health, they do get into fights quite often, but since they're all around the same size in here, most of the injuries just involve little bite marks, little scrapes and cuts. But we can check them over, make sure none of that is too severe or real deep lacerations. We can also check them over, make sure they don't have any broken bones and things like that. Okay? Most of that you can do just visually with one person. You can check the animal out if you want to get a better spot. Okay. I did say though, in the event that we wanted to move the alligator, we have to get control of the mouth. So the easiest way to do that is you start your hands back here on the neck region, slide your hands down around the jaws, and then you just force the jaws shut as you work your hands up to the front of their face. Okay, a second guy would come in, he would take the mouth shut. You get out of here. Yeah. Okay, fine. I have to. But anyway, another person would come in, he'd take the mouth shut, you can get a hold of it that way. Again, just because his mouth wasn't open, force the jaw shut, work your hands up, and there it is. Okay? Once you get
Kenley,
then you can take the alligator up, you can do whatever
Kenley.
it is that you need to do with them at that point. That's all there is to it, really, for holding the mouth shut and actually getting on their back. Before I move on here, I do want to show you just a couple of other things. Alligators and crocodiles are what they call an amphibious reptile. It just means they spend most of their life in the water. A lot of time also spent underwater. They have some physical adaptations that help them live that aquatic life, and I'm going to try and show you just a couple of these. The first one is actually inside the mouth. You guys notice how you can't see down the alligator's throat? The back of their tongue operates like a valve, so when they're underwater, they can open their mouth up, and the tongue is going to close off the back of the throat, and it prevents water from rushing into their stomachs or lungs. The nose and the ears are also equipped with valves. So they're pretty much watertight from all of these different entry points. Close them up with all these various valves. The eyes are also very neat. They come equipped with 2 sets of eyelids. So making him close his eyes here. When he opens his eyes up, it looks like the eyeball rolls into the head. And what it is it's this second eyelid uncovering the eye from the back to the front. It's called the nictitating membrane. And the nictitating membrane is kind of like a built-in pair of diving goggles. So it's just a clear eyelid that they use when they're underwater.
Isabel.
Anytime you see them bring their head above surface or anytime you see them open the eye, like if they're blinking, you'll see that eyelid uncover the eye, and that's why it gives you the rolling effect. Right. Anyway, those are the things I wanted to show you here on the alligator. Let him go. If you get a chance to look at their teeth, you'll notice that the tooth of an alligator or crocodile is conical in shape, so it's round and pointed. A tooth of that nature is not made for chewing, and it's not made for biting off pieces of food. That tooth is better designed for gripping, and then just through their own strength, they have to be able to tear the meat up into pieces that are small enough for them to swallow. So a lot of times in the wild, they'll take down large prey animals, and a lot of you guys have seen this before, either in person or else on television. But you might have several alligators and crocodiles nearby, and they all come up to this dead prey animal. They all bite on and they start thrashing around, or sometimes they'll do what we call the death roll, where they spin their bodies. That's where they're trying to tear off a bite-sized piece of food. Now, if that's how we fed them out here, we would see a lot of the same injuries that we find in the wild, because of how reckless they get. If they accidentally grab their friend's leg or tail, they'll tear it off, they'll eat it, and they won't think anything of it. So out here, we don't feed them with one big piece. We bring out individual pieces of food. That way they don't have to sit there and fight over one big chunk. Kind of limit or kind of reduce the chances of injuries. Another problem we have to address is the fact that we do 5 or 6 shows a day, and we feed at every single show that we do. So if we're coming out that often and we're just randomly tossing food out to the animals, it's not going to take them very long before they start to associate me as the food. So what we've done to try and avoid that is we've tried to condition the animals to associate a visual signal and a sound signal with being fed. Their visual signal is the bucket, so they'll see the bucket, they recognize that as part of feeding. We also give them a sound signal, so I'll tap on the bucket here a couple of times, and that's going to work like a dinner bell. That way once they see the bucket and hear the noise, then they know that it's time to eat. And see what these guys are doing here, they figured out what we're doing. It's also why they get the buffet line set up out here for me. They recognize this part of the show. So we'll go ahead and give them the sound signal. That's all it takes, that little bit of noise. We're feeding them chicken. Now, they'll eat any kind of meat. They'll eat red meat, fish or fowl. A lot of times in the wild, they'll also scavenge, so they don't necessarily have to kill what they intend to eat. Kind of goes back to what we were saying before, that they're not picky. And you'll notice that when they get the food in their mouth, they do make a lot of chewing motion. They're not really chewing the food in the sense of the word, they're just better situating the food so that it's a little bit easier for them to swallow it. Let's see if my volunteer wants some here. Wants some food. There you go. There's that chewing motion again. Okay, in the water, we said they can open their mouth underwater, and they don't have to worry about water entering into their lungs and such. Now at the same time, oh, that poor caiman, huh? At the same time, no wonder you're so small. But at the same time, they can open their mouth underwater, but they can't swallow underwater. So they're going to bring their heads up above the surface, they'll tilt their heads back, and just let the food slide on down into their stomachs. They pick, it's a race. When they pick food up off the ground, they have to tilt their heads off to the sides to pick it up. And that's just because of how they're physically built. Their mouth is really long, their neck is kind of short and muscular, so they can't reach out and grab things with the very front of their face. They also have a hard time seeing it too. When it's on, because you want that, don't you? Okay. It's still right. You think that's funny, do you? There you go. Yeah, but what I was saying though is they do have a hard time seeing the food when it's on the ground like this. Remember how I said they can't see anything below their jawline? So a lot of times out here, they'll see the food as it's moving through the air, and then they might hit it when it hits the ground, but after that they lose sight of it. So it's mostly just feeling for it. They'll either step on it, or sometimes they'll actually drag their chin across the ground, and once they feel the chicken, then of course they'll pick it up and they'll eat it. You might also notice we don't feed everything out here. During the one show, we only fed out about 10 pieces of food here. Not a big deal though, if some of them don't get fed during this one program. This is one of the advantages to being cold-blooded. They have such a slow metabolism that it allows them to go long periods of time without eating, and it won't affect them like it would to you and I. And actually, if you really think of it like this, for an alligator or crocodile to go 2 or 3 months between meals would be very similar to you and I going from breakfast to lunch. Okay? And if you take that an extra step, we all know that if you miss lunch, you're not going to die. You just wait a few hours, and you'll pick up supper. So in reality, these animals can go anywhere from 5 to maybe 8 months without eating, and it has no real serious side effects to them. That's why I said out here, we don't get too concerned if some of them haven't eaten all day or all week. And just because of the way that we feed them, I'd be willing to bet that some of our animals probably go all summer without eating, because we feed them year-round. If they pack on enough weight through the winter, they have all that fat stored up, they won't have to eat again until the fall or even that following winter. So don't be concerned, like you said, if one of them didn't get fed out here. If they're really hungry, they'll have to wait a few hours till the next show, but they always know where the food is at. They obviously don't have to put in a lot of effort to get the food, and you can tell by looking at them that nothing is underfed out here.